Guys, so I felt to celebrate 300 subscribers. We're currently now at 327 subscribers. So meaning the dream of hitting 1,000 subscribers might not be that far off. It might be in the near future. So I felt I should do a video, or I should do this video of getting to know the Induna We Nombe. Who am I? The person behind this channel. What is my agricultural background? Just, familiarizing you guys with who I am a bit. So let's get into it. Who am I? Firstly, my name is Mitchell Mutumba Simata. I'm sure you guys have heard me say that name 100 of times in my agricultural videos. My name is Mitchell Mutumba Simata. I am a native to the country of Namibia. I live in Namibia. I was born in the capital city of Namibia, which is called Windhoek, in 1991. So I'm 30 years old. I was born in Windhoek. I got to live in the smaller towns, Otjiwarongo, the Etosha National Park, which is almost like the Kruger of Namibia. I know South Africa has the Kruger, but we have the Etosha National Park here. I spent a lot of my childhood there. Do I have any qualifications in agriculture? Not really. I'm a person who's actually qualified in media and journalism. That's where I obtained my qualifications in media and journalism. I didn't actually obtain an agricultural qualification, but I wanted to study agriculture, but unfortunately in the capital city, agriculture was not a field of study offered at school or even offered at the universities. Only now is it now being offered at the major universities in Namibia. Back in the day, it was offered at our major universities. So if you couldn't obtain the points that you needed, or if you didn't do agriculture at school, you'd struggle to get into the agricultural course. So that's my journey with agriculture. I really didn't study it. I don't have any qualifications. So I hope none of you guys are looking at me, or ladies are looking at me and saying I'm probably a PhD holder or a degree holder. I don't have that. My journey in farming started in 2010, but prior to that, we did do subsistence farming. That is now small scale in our communal area. As most of you know, when you are farming in your villages, you are doing it probably for your own consumption, or you are doing it on a small scale, mostly just keeping some cattle and plowing fields. But when did I get into the commercial agricultural side of things was in 2010. This was when my father had, a smart idea of obtaining a piece of land to lease where we could actually start getting involved in commercial agriculture, in this case livestock. So my father did that, and now we have this commercial piece of land. You have a son who's interested but hasn't studied agriculture, So a lot of it, when we started off, it was on the job training, I can call it like that. It was a lot of self-studying, reading a lot of agricultural magazines, the biggest one in South Africa being Farmers Weekly. I also did read some Landbou because I did do Afrikaans at school, and my stepmom is from the Eastern Cape. Northern Cape, sorry, not Eastern Cape, she's from the Northern Cape. So I can't speak Afrikaans. So I did read a lot of agricultural magazines, English and Afrikaans. I read the one here in Namibia, I was reading the one in South Africa, and then I started reaching out to the more established farmers. Some of them were very nice enough to actually hold my hand and teach me, and hold my hand and give me information on farming, whether it was livestock or feeding. Particularly, I was doing mostly livestock, so it was mostly livestock, breeding, feeding, and so forth. And then, beside the commercial farmers assisting me, I also had to educate myself. As I mentioned, a lot of reading of magazines, a lot of online reading also. I had to draw up breeding programs on our own farm. We didn't have a breeding program when we started. We were just putting our bull amongst our cattle, and our cows were sometimes giving birth when it's raining in December. Some of them were giving birth in winter when it's dry. So I had to do a lot of on-the-job training in terms of I had to draw up my own agricultural program. My dad has a degree in agriculture, but he hasn't really worked in the agricultural field for the longest of time. So he has lost some of that knowledge. You forget. If you're not putting it into practice, you forget a lot of it. So I had to do all these things. At the beginning, of course, when we had started off farming, we did the biggest mistake. We bought a bull, not from a private farmer. We bought it from an auction, a commercial livestock auction. We bought a bull from an auction, which was a red Bosmara bull. This is before I actually knew that the Bosmara bulls are branded with the B logo, or registered Brahmans are branded with a B logo. Bosmara have a B. The Simbras have an S in a circle. The Sussex have the dollar sign, and the SX. And the X on it. So before I knew all these things, we purchased a very beautiful red Bosmara bull, which had everything, man. It had the muscling, it had the body. It was the picture of what a bull should look like. So we purchased that, we took it to our farm, we kept it there for a year and a half. Within a year and a half, this bull hadn't given birth to anything. The farmer himself, said that the bull is slow. So I thought it was just your typical slow bull that doesn't breed at the level most Bosmaras would breed. He was not your Casanova, was probably more like your Romeo. And we kept him for a year and a half, and within that year and a half, he didn't really produce any calves for us. So we took a decision to sell him, or to sell him at the auction, get him sold off, and whoever bought him slaughtered him. We sold him, and then from there on, we went on to buy purchase a Brahman bull. That's when I started now getting into Brahman farming. We purchased a Brahman bull. We named it Osama. It stayed with us for a good 3 to 5 years. It stayed with us. Very good bull, bred very well with us. Gave us some very good calves. But then, as I said, I was drawing up now the breeding cycle. How long do we keep bulls? How long are we going to keep it active on our farm? What's our breeding cycle going to be? I started drawing this up. We kept him for 4 or 5 years, and then after that, we sold him. We bought in a white Brahman bull from what's the stud? Paloma Brahman here in Namibia. It's owned by Mr. What's his name? Mr. Klaus of Paloma Brahman. We bought a bull from him, we named him Stompy because he had his tail was, half of his tail was taken off by a leopard. So it looked like your Mastiff or your South African Bulldog or your Bulldogs with their dog tails. It looks like it was docked. So we kept him for a good 3 years also. He produced very good cows for us. Got bit by a snake in the neck. We had to take him to the vet to get operated, but he was on his way out. After 3 years, we sold him to an uncle of ours up in the Zambezi region. I'm not sure if the bull is still alive or it's still kicking. I'm sure it's still probably there. And then we bought in our third bull, which we named Msholozi after the president of South Africa, President Jacob Zuma. I don't know, my father was the one who used to pick these names. My dad decided to name him Msholozi. So my father named him Msholozi. Msholozi stayed there. He was now a red Brahman bull. Stompy was white, Msholozi was red. So we had Msholozi there for a while. Msholozi gave us some red calves. And the interesting part of Msholozi's calves, some were coming out red, some were coming out white, some were coming out gold in color because he was registered as such. But it was a good bull. We also kept him for 2 to 3 years. And then after that, we decided that we're going to go into Simbra breeding. We're going to start breeding Simbra cattle now. The Simbra, as you guys would have known, been watching my videos, is the cross between the Brahman and the Simmental, vice versa. But yeah, it's between the Brahman and the Simmental. So we brought in our Simbra bull. We named him, what did I name him? I named him Milky Way because he had this white color. He almost had this milkish color. He was white, he wasn't like what most Simbra bulls would look like. So he was not white, mostly creamish in color. I named him Milky Way. We kept him for a year. We kept him for a year. We bought him in, I think, a year or two before my father again, things happened, drought, we were leasing land. So we had to end up closing our camp and selling off our cattle. The camp was probably becoming too expensive, something my dad never really spoke about. So we are now before that, we were taking the journey of now becoming Simbra breeders, of starting to breed our own Simbras. And Milky Way actually started producing some calves for us, which were very good looking calves. And then we brought in also a Simmental bull. I named that bull Shamrock. I have pictures of them, I believe, in my phone. I named that bull Shamrock. And that was me starting up now my Simbra business. But unfortunately, as you know, with businesses and with finances, the financial situations are not that proper. We had to close our camp, which is still a very, very touchy-feely for me because I spent nearly 10 years, 10 years of my life farming, contributing to our farm and actually building our herd of cattle and investing my time into it. I wasn't yet working. I wasn't yet investing financially. I was investing more physically. And it's only later on when we're reaching now the close of stage of the farm where I was now actually financially able to start assisting with buying feeds and leeks. This was prior 2019, 2020. 2019, I believe Namibia experienced another drought, so we were heavily buying bales of lucerne, bales of leek, investing in our livestock, as most farmers would do. So that was my journey. And then after that, and then I created also Induna We Nombe. I created it in, I believe it was 4 years ago. It has to be 2017, 2018, somewhere there. And I wasn't really active on it. I did videos here and there. What led to me creating the page, by the way, was also I also worked on radio. I have experience working on radio broadcasting, and I would always host an agricultural show on Saturday. And what happened, the station that I worked at wasn't really being broadcast in all the other regions in the country. South Africans, you guys would say provinces. So it wasn't being broadcast in all provinces or regions. Here in Namibia, we say regions in the country. And I had friends in the outside countries, outside where our capital city is located, which is called the Commerce region. I had friends in the east, I had friends in the west, I had friends in the north, I had friends in the northeast who wanted to hear my show and want to listen to my presentation. So then I started doing recordings. I put some of my earlier videos on Facebook. For those that did go friend request me, I'm sure you have seen some of my old videos when I was still on radio. And then from there on, I started doing recordings, and a friend of mine was like, why don't you do a recording of you in the studio doing your presentation, or whatever cattle breed you're talking about, or whatever method of farming you're talking about, and then from there on you upload it on YouTube. We can watch it at least on YouTube. We can all watch your videos. So that was the establishment of Induna We Nombe. It was first called Farmer's Corner. What made me change the name from Farmer's Corner was also the fact that a lot of my friends were trying to find the page, and then they would always tell me, Mitchell, when I type in Farmer's Corner, I find I'm finding 100 Farmer's Corner pages. Give it a name that's unique, that would be different from other people. And then I decided to call it, first I tried to play around with other names, but then I decided to call it Induna We Nombe. That, by the way, is with the help of my younger brother. He is the one who came up with the name. He came up with the name, so a big shout out to him. He assisted on that. Yeah, and I became very active with the page. I was working, and then, as everybody knows, we're currently facing a pandemic right now. The pandemic hit in Namibia, and the Namibian economy wasn't really set up to fight off the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic. A lot of jobs were lost. I was one of the casualties that lost my job because of COVID. And then I was like, you know what? A friend of mine, a female friend of mine by the name of Raya, by the way, she told me, nah, don't stress too much. You can job hunt, but in the meantime, at least you're job hunting. Give your agricultural page. Give your agricultural page. Sorry about that. Give your agricultural page some attention. It needs attention. You haven't really done uploads on it. Some of the videos I was doing were probably 2-3 years apart. And then I decided, let me get back to the agricultural page. Let me get back to revamp it, give it a new name, download some editing software, add a theme song, do all the crazy bells and whistles that need to be done with editing videos and putting them out there, and also engaging you guys in the comment section. So that is the history of me and the person behind the page, Induna We Nombe, and also what led me to create the page. I do have a love for agriculture. As I said, I don't have any qualifications in it, so this is why I get very uncomfortable when people call me an expert in it. I'm not an expert. I don't have... The experts are the men and women that go and study these fields. I am just a person who self-taught myself, who was, you could say, on-the-job training. I went for a lot of on-the-job training. I didn't attend courses. I'm sure most of you are like, did you attend a course? I didn't attend a course. I was teaching myself by reading a lot of agricultural magazines, subscribing to agricultural pages on YouTube, subscribing to online magazines. That is how I taught myself agriculture. And like I said prior, every time I do a video on a different sheep breed or a different cattle breed, a different chicken breed, a different bird breed, a different plant breed, or even fish, or even aquaculture, which is also known as pisciculture, it's me educating. I'm learning also as I'm going. And even beekeeping. So I'm teaching myself as I'm going. It's not that I went to school and I studied this. I didn't. I just have experience in agriculture, but my experience is mostly in animal husbandry, because I was doing animal husbandry. As I mentioned, my dad got a place where we were keeping cattle in 2010, and he had a smart idea of making me the manager of that place, and I couldn't fail. So I invested 10 good years of my life through trial and error, 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 till I actually got it right. And that's what led to the creation of this page. And my friends actually encouraged me to keep on pushing the content. So I felt for saying thanks for the 300 subscribers that I've gotten from you, my my bona fide YouTube viewers, I felt I should do the video of the man behind the page of Induna We Nombe. Just some history, giving you guys some insight in who I am and why I do this. With that said, guys, bye for now.